jail, people, jail. Unholy trinity. Let me know in the comments, are you a nipple person or a nippleless? Nothing like a good old beer gut. Do you know where the crapper is? Depending on how tight you want your puckered hole, if you want one with a massaging wand, of course it's ugly, it's Kohler. If you like to edge like me, then you know there's a lot of options for you. It just looks dirty, it looks like oil stains. So if you have a dad kink, we are going to be going to the straightest place on earth. That is the hardware store of Home Depot, because there are a lot of great things in this store, but there are also a lot of terrible things. And I feel like the average DIYer or someone that's doing a renovation, this is going to be your first stop. So we're gonna go through all the best things to look for and something that I would completely avoid as an interior designer. And because it's pouring rain, we're gonna get soaked before we enter. Of course, when we walked in here, they were playing Nickelback. We are literally in the straightest place on earth right now. But we're gonna start with my favorite section. I did not think that I was going to make an appearance here at Home Depot, but this is me on a bad day, people. And we have even, oh, Maleficent is gonna try and jump in and speak over me. But for $288, are you kidding me? If I had a yard, I would have all of these. This is honestly putting Spirit Halloween to shame as of late, because these are amazing. We got Chucky, we got Raven Rooster Man, we got the Fiery Reaper. $200? I do like the little LED eyes. I think those are a fun touch, especially at night. This guy, amazing. For $400, you can give yourself a great hug. I have no idea where people are storing this thing, but I'm into it. We had to take a little detour. We need to just start here. It's Halloween, people. Like, this is the best time of the year. Halloween trumps every holiday. Oh, you can move all of his fingers too? Look at, ask him what that tongue do though. Okay, that was enough fun. Now let's get into business, because this is why you're really watching, not just for my beautiful sense of humor. We're gonna start things off with the unholy trinity of lighting. All of these, oh, tragic. This is like just like farmhouse. Like those I'm not a fan of. Even these glass bulbs with the exposed ones, look how much dust is already collected on those. Like, I get everything's gonna collect dust, but when you have a glass piece like this, it just shows even more. These are not giving anything design. These look cheap, and for $100, that's still expensive for a really crappy light. You spend $150, maybe $200, you can find a nice like designer looking one that doesn't look like you went to Home Depot, people. We are avoiding the builder basic grade items. You know what? I'm kind of like half and half. This, if that was like a real alabaster piece, it would probably be about maybe $300. For a cheap one for $175, I'm kind of on the fence about. Avoid everything, and I mean everything, with these like little jewels and crystals. It's cheap plastic and it looks so bad. Like it just, this reminds me of the early 2000s glam where everyone was like, we need bedazzles, we need sparkles, we need chrome. These still exist, and the fact that these are full price is a little ridiculous in my opinion. The super modern swirled ones are giving like rich auntie that doesn't have style. I'm sorry if you're a rich auntie. We can do better than this, come on. These are, you know what? I'm really sad. I thought I would have like better lights. What bothers me to no end is having a light bulb with two different color temperatures. Look, we got like a 2700K and like a 5000. Oh, jail, people, jail. Having light fixtures like this style has always been the standard for the longest time, right above your mirror, but unfortunately it is the least flattering amount of light that you can have on your face or anywhere in the bathroom. I always recommend having at least a wall sconce on each side to have that beautiful forward-facing light. It's great for makeup application. It's great for just like looking at yourself. If you're taking shirtless photos in your bathroom, which I know you probably are, that's gonna give you the best lighting. I have my reservations about this light. I don't mind this. I feel like this in a vertical install, depending on what the mirror looks like, could possibly work. I like that it's a little bit more versatile. It's kind of like a modern Hollywood glam. Instead of having the bulbs, you have those fixed. And what's nice is that this is, oh my God, reach. Slightly adjustable. I'm on the fence about it. I need to see, you know, the rest of it in a setting, but this is much better than whatever the rest of these are. Light temperature is so important. I know I made a comment about that one before, but look at the difference. This is like a 2700 Kelvin rating. This is what you want. This is a fucking operating room. This is gonna look so gross outside your house. Everything is so blue and oh my God, my eyes. I can see the shape of that fixture when I close my eyes. Don't do one of those. It's not gonna work in your space. It's not gonna look good. Color temperature means everything on both interior and exterior. I don't even know why you would make something like this when you can have an option. Expose bulbs, hide them. This is, no. We should have started here, people. The classic 2-in-1 boob light, $15.90. That is how cheap this is. This is also Canadian dollars for my American friends. This is probably like $7 at your hardware stores. These are cheap. They look cheap. None of these have ever looked good. Like, look. Also, bulb temperature, people, absolutely atrocious. If you're looking for a flush mount or a semi-flush mount, don't go to Home Depot, people, because every single one of these that I'm looking at, whether they have the nipple or they don't have the nipple, let me know in the comments. Are you a nipple person or a nippleless? For my millennial viewers, you know what I'm talking about when I say the nipples. It's like the Batman when they had them on the suits versus not having them. This is the comparison. So track lights can be extremely difficult because what's great and bad about them is that they are super versatile and they allow you to really have multiple light options directed in certain areas. These have always been a standard for kitchens. I would avoid one of these one-track systems because they look cheap. They're really not that flattering. I would go with like a singular cylindrical downlight like this and have maybe 2 or 3 of them in your kitchen. These come in a white as well, blend into the ceiling, and they highlight the directed light where you need them to go. The rest of these really large, like, oh my God, tin can looking ones take up way too much volume on your ceiling and they're really bulky. I love that they trademarked sparkle. Like no one else is going to be using that if that's what you're calling your light, because that, oh, the fact that I can see the hot points of the LEDs inside is a disaster. These are great maybe if, you know, you're 18 and you're moving into a dorm room and you want to have like the party, would typically avoid one of those. But I also want to show you wall sconces that I think are great and which ones aren't, because I know we already looked at the other ones before, but this is the perfect cross comparison. Lights like this, although these aren't the most beautiful lighting, this flattering is even. This is perfect for a bathroom, whether you only have the one on top or if you want to have them on each side, because these frosted globes actually diffuse the light, making it much softer on any application versus these exposed ones that you can tell. Looking those side by side, this is going to give you a headache because that glare is really dramatic in your eyes and how you actually look at it versus this. Like you could look in a mirror for a longer time with those lights on the side. On a lower budget, these are amazing because you have multiple color options. These are $2 a pop, and they can replace those really standard looking like white ones with the white cover plates. If you have like an off-white, you can do an almond. This is really good with like a white oak. If you're not a fan of black, you can go with that dark chocolate brown. These are really great, affordable options to update your space, whether it's like quick little details, and in design is all about the details. Just like swapping out the outlets, having your switch plates are another really great alternative. These super high brass ones I'm not a fan of because they're a little bit too shiny. Something that have like these bevel details pigeonhole you into something that's a little bit more kind of traditional or transitional. The screwless ones in a satin nickel, I think this is a really nice kind of chic, more contemporary design. You can get them all matching. These Art Deco ones are, you know, in the right setting, I think they would be okay. These white metal ones are a little bit cheap looking. You might as well just stick with the plastic ones. This reminds me of something that you maybe would put in like a child's room. These picture frame ones I don't mind as long as the screws are minimal or hidden, and in this case it's only on the outlets in the middle. Having the screw on top just kind of like detracts from the overall design. And I mean, for $5, between $5 and $10 for these in a space, once again, one of those little details that make a huge difference. Like look at the comparison between these two. Pretty much the same price. This one has the screws on it that are going to like strip and you're gonna see the stainless steel under versus a nice flat white or dark finish to match your walls. These have been the standard for floor registers and HVAC returns on walls, ceiling, floors for the longest time. These are ugly. You can't paint them. They look cheap because they are cheap. These guys, on the other hand, from Fitz, if you've been following our renovation, I've been using these. Look at that install. You have that nice, beautiful little perimeter reveal around it. These can be on your floor, your wall, or your ceiling. So much more of a seamless approach. And look, $22 versus $32, an extra $10 more, and you have that high-end designer look. Now, you don't have to put these everywhere in your home. You can pick those public areas that people are seeing most of the time to have that beautiful look. If you have registers that are like underneath your bed, by all means, you can save budget on this, but this is something I will always recommend. I always have these spec'd. There's another brand called Invisivent that makes very similar style, but they have like the grates on them, paintable finish, so you just kind of blend it into the wall. The decorative ones, even with the metal finishes, I find are a little abrupt because, once again, that's one of the first things that your eye gets attention to in a room because it's going to be so different from your wall finish. If you have the capability of having a wood finish for the ground, getting one of these in a paint or a stain grade is amazing because this is going to match your flooring and comes out serviceable in multiple pieces. This is actually, oh, I actually really like this one. It still has the metal components you can open and close. This for, I mean, for $27 or $30 compared to the $32 one for fits, depending on where you're using for the floor applications, another great alternative. These, I mean, it's hard to beat that price if you're doing a renovation, but once again, budget for those public spaces where people see them more often. If you're putting these everywhere because you want to be cheap, it's going to look cheap. Your standard thermostats have always been notoriously ugly. The Nest systems from Google, I think, are so chic. Like, look at this. Touchscreen control. You can get them in a brushed gold, obsidian, or a silver. This looks so nice because it just kind of, once again, blends into the wall and it has that kind of design orientation to it. We're gonna make this as cold as possible because I am a thermos, and if I want this -20, we're gonna make it -20, even though I know these are just a floor model. For all my painters and DIYers, do not get the 4-pack for $17. Get the single pack for $11. Frog tape is going to be a lifesaver. When you're getting paint for any application, you always want to make sure you get that clean finish. Anything else, Scotch brand, unfortunately, as much as I love Scotch brand in general, you're going to get really unclean edges when you're pulling off that paint, and then you're going to have to do it over again. Spend the extra money, do it once so you don't have to do it a second time. Nothing like a good old beer gut hanging over for your vanity. Now, I understand bathrooms are a starting point for people doing renovations. This for $100, I would avoid these. The colors are really not that great. These are way too contemporary. The built-in ones I feel like could work, but like this feels cheap. I don't mind this wood finish if you're like really tight on space. I prefer this to have drawers instead of a cabinet, but once again, if you're on a budget, this one, I feel like the color could be better. Size and shape of this is pretty decent. This one, I'm not really feeling. If you have a really tight space, that could work. These ones I like a little bit more with the undermounted sink because it's a little bit easier to clean. This honestly doesn't look like it fits properly, but I like the finishes on these. These like small shaker rails give a little bit more kind of a contemporary feel. Oh, and see, look, they even have the P-trap here for that extra loop. So you actually utilize all the storage. That's actually a really great detail to look for vanities. Otherwise, you're usually stuck with a false panel on one of them. This has the cutout on both. This one is Design Daddy approved, minus the fact that this looks like it's been broken a few times. While I'm not a fan of this one, I do like that this isn't just a false panel. This utilizes that little bit of storage for that lip between the actual sink basin, so you're actually using it instead of losing out on it. So this, design-wise, yes. Color and the rest of it, no. Excuse me, do you know where the crapper is? I need to do a very mysterious thing.
Drop off some timber.
While we're on the topic of the crapper, toilets is another really great question a lot of people ask about. Kohler, I am personally not a fan of. The brand itself doesn't really have the best quality, and it's more or less associated with hardware stores. Cheap, easy, and accessible. Once again, isn't necessarily a bad thing, but when it comes to the design, looking for a bowl like this, super clean, super simple. The downside to this is the only nice part. All of this back here is going to collect dust, it's going to collect grime, and who knows whatever else it's falling out of the toilet if you're not careful. The top of this also is really awkwardly shaped. The style of this water tank doesn't go with this toilet. I would want something super clean, very simple. Like, these are a little bit too dated in my opinion, and for the $367, they're really not going to do much for your space. When you are looking for toilets, it comes down to not only the function, but the design, because you're going to be cleaning it. And if you're going to be down on your hands and knees or reaching behind there, you best believe you do not want one of those little traps where it holds everything. Having one of these complete elongated bowl basins that are completely flush, this is going to be fantastic. Maintenance on these are a little bit more intense compared to these because you can access the P-trap, but in my opinion, looks so much cleaner. Toilets have never been the nicest looking. In my opinion, we're moving towards the future and we're doing like the tankless or wall mounted where you don't have these pieces on top, because no one wants the first thing you see when you go into a bathroom to be the toilet. But if you are going to have a toilet, which obviously is necessary, at least get something that is super clean, simple, minimal, and also check the weight load, people, because some toilets have a very minimal weight load because they're cheap. Depending on how tight you want your puckered hole, these are great for feeding wires all the way through and hiding them. And like, depending on the tightness, you have options. I mean, it's even a black one. If you want one with a massaging wand, these would be great, but otherwise, these are really offensive to look at, in my opinion. We all love a hand wand because it's great for doing multitudes of things, including cleaning your shower. But with all of these, having all of these like immense amount of jets on them are really intense. Delta as a brand I like. Moen I find is a little bit cheaper. These are almost like too futuristic for your bathroom. I would want something that has more of a built-in option. Once again, it comes down to the amount of space you have. If you do not have a hand shower, one of these systems that has a 2-in-1 is great, because then you can actually clean your shower. If you don't want to get your hair wet while you're showering, these are great as well. I don't know what the fuck that is. It does not need to come with 30 different angles adjustable. Like, this looks something from HR Geiger. Like, something's gonna like come out. I don't know if you're watching the new Alien show, but it's gonna get you. I love rain heads. I would stay away from these square ones or even like these softer rounded ones. I find that these come off like really cheap in your space and the square just doesn't look great. If you go with a round one, once again, not a huge fan of this finish, but a round one is going to be more contemporary, and it's also going to fit with a lot more different interior design styles and make it more versatile for your home. Of course it's ugly, it's Kohler. No. If you like to edge like me, then you know there's a lot of options for you. All of these different finishes are fantastic because when you have an edge trim like this and you have that transition, whether between floors and carpet or floor and tiles, everyone always goes with your standard chrome finish. If you want something that has like a nice little finish to the edge, whether it's a black or a brass, these are really great options to bring a little bit of a highlight and detail to the floor or on the wall, depending on your application. While we're on the topic of edging, education for floors. Everyone will always buy one single sample of these. This is where you're making a really big mistake. Because when you look at flooring like this, when you're looking at flooring, the color difference is so insane. Look how dark and light this is. This is the same piece, just in different applications. And people will always look at one small little sample and they bring that home, they're like, this is great. And then they install it and then it looks like you have a zebra stripe across the floor. Get a few of these floorboards to see the different variations of what they have, whether it's engineered, hardwood, or LVL in this case, because the last thing I want to see is flooring up looking like this. First of all, gray is jailable offense. And to have something so contrasted like this, when you see it on the floor application, that looks like absolute garbage. It just looks so stripy. You want a nice, seamless, styled approach. The reason you want flooring that has more of a consistent finish like this is because your flooring is a backdrop for the rest of your home. It takes up a huge majority of it, and if it's really busy and patterned like this one, or even like this is where your eye lands in the space, and then it detracts from the rest of the design of the room. I wanna know who decided to make this one, because this color combination, it just looks dirty. It looks like oil stains from a garage. This is Thunderwood. I'll show you some thunder. Ugh, did Kohler make this flooring? Garbage. So I would still avoid most of these ones at Home Depot, but if you're on a budget, this one I think is fantastic. Nice, clean slate finish, consistent veining, coloring is great. This is actually, you know, for $5 a square foot, way better. One other thing I would avoid is ones with this hammered finish. It looks great when you see it on the wall, but on floor applications, it just makes it look uneven. What is this, the tub for ants? So if you have a dad kink and you love being mansplained to, I promise you, you will find the perfect man. Come to your local hardware store, stand by all the power tools and look like you have no idea what you're looking for. You'll find exactly what you need. Now, thankfully, I didn't have anyone try that with me today. We went undercover at Home Depot. They're probably going to look for me next time, but I feel like this was so fun because there are so many great options to look for as an interior designer, and as you've seen, lots of terrible ones. So you need to let me know in the comments if I need to do a second and a third part for this, because we can go undercover in so many stores. If you want to go see my other undercover video, you need to see the one that we're going to link here, because we did it at IKEA, and there was, let's just say, just as many questionable choices as there was here at Home Depot. Don't forget to like and make sure you are subscribed, because I'm watching you. I'm risking myself going out here in the public and I'm not getting a subscription. Come on, people. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Mr. Phoenix Gray to see all my daily tips and tricks, and you know, the odd like dad thirsty photo that I throw up on my stories. And if you're ever second guessing yourself, just ask, what would Design Daddy do? Come hang out in the tool aisle. They're gonna find lots of tools.